How's it going, guys, and welcome back to the Metal Rebellion. I'm your host, Jesse Morgan, aka Slammerella, and my apologies for how long it's taken to finally get around to doing another collection update video. Things have just been super busy and hectic, and I've been working on a bunch of other stuff. Yeah, as you've probably seen on my other channel, I've recently been getting my Emerald Spade series, my book that I've been working on. I've been trying to get that making some DIY copies, and eventually we'll be getting them like full-on copyrighted by the end of the month, so I'll be able to sell them to the public, i.e. you guys. Either digitally or physically. Physically will probably cost a little bit more because I will be making them personally each time, so it'll be handmade and to each person, hard copy or soft covers. Anywho, let's get into this. I put a little bit of a vote on Facebook in the Rebellion group and on my Black Metal Rebellion page to see what you guys wanted to see first out of black metal, slam, grind, punk, thrash, etc. Most of you guys voted for either black metal or slam. However, I feel like I should probably stick with the slam because, once again, we don't know how YouTube's going to be reacting to a lot of black metal content right now. There still seems to be some sort of stigma with it right now, and I'm trying to hold off showing all of it right away on this channel. However, if by the time we're done the slam collection, the black metal kind of lynch mob on YouTube and censorship Nazis aren't trying to get everything banned and shut down, then perhaps I will consider doing the whole black metal collection on this channel. So with that being said, let's move on and start the slam collection. As you can tell, I'm ready for this, and you probably can guess what the first band is, and that is Abominable Putridity. This is the reissue. This isn't the original release, but this is still their In the End of Human Existence album from 2007, first release from this band. Excellent slam and brutal death metal, mostly in this album just grimy, filthy, slow, chugging, groovy slams. Excellent stuff, and these guys were who I first heard when it came to this genre. Besides these guys, I think the first people I heard that were slam related was Devourment and Guttural Secrete were after this band, but I'm pretty sure Abominable Putridity was the very first slam related band I ever heard. So anyways, these guys were from Moscow, Russia, and started in 2003. Besides this, they have a couple of demos and promos, and after this came out their second album, The Anomalies of Artificial Origin. This had a little bit more brutal death metal in it than slam. It was released in 2012. Pretty good stuff. Now the thing is, Abominable Putridity's second album wasn't quite as good as the first one when it came to slow, groovy slams, but the musicianship definitely went up a couple of notches, and they were definitely amping up the tricks in their sleeves. Highly recommend both albums, In the End of Human Existence and The Anomalies of Artificial Origin. Really good on their own merit. Alright, next up is another one of my favorite bands in this genre for sure. That is Craniasiz. This is their first album with When Mutation Becomes Homicidal in 2013. Just has the most amazing riffs I've ever heard when it comes to the slam, or in their case, slamcore genre. The gutturals were great. The riffs were groovy as fuck, very catchy. If you don't headbang while listening to this album, there is something seriously wrong with you. Go see a psychologist, because if you don't headbang to this and you're into metal, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with you. Amazing. My favorite album by them, for sure. There's the inside there. Now, before this, there was an EP in 2011 called The Echo of Her Cracking Chest. Very rare, very hard to get nowadays. However, They will be reissuing the Echo of Her Cracking Chest re-recorded version of it on the 18th of October this year. So look out for that. Make sure you get your hands on it. I will probably try to get a copy if I can. Excellent stuff and really interesting versions of some of these songs on here. So yeah, check it out. Then their second album came in 2014 called Dishonor. They had a lineup change. They got a different vocalist. He doesn't sound quite as guttural or indecipherable as the previous one. This kind of went more of a brutal death metal direction, but still had some really good slams in it. Had some slight breakdowns in it, but not quite. Anyways, really good album. I was happy to see them return, even if it was with a new vocalist. There's the inside there. Very just brutal, incredibly heavy. More than likely some down-tuned guitars, because I'm pretty sure that they're not just drop D or E standard or down step E or whatever. I'm pretty sure it's a little bit lower than that. Anyways, excellent album. That's Craniasiz with Dishonor from 2014. Next is the Craniasiz third album from 2017. The probably better return of a Craniasiz. These guys definitely mixed a cross between their first album and the second album perfectly with Reign of Terror. It's really, really good. I definitely would say this is my second favorite Craniasiz album. And yeah, it's really neat to see how these guys have evolved, but still maintain that really groovy, hard-hitting, just massive sound that they've got going on. And once again, they're a slamcore band. They're from Germany and started around 2009. Following that is some more slamcore. This is Begging for Incest with Awaiting the Fist. This was technically their first EP, but this is the 2017 re-release version. The EP originally came out in 2008 with alternate artwork. It was a face of a woman on the front, both like smeared red lipstick and maybe bleeding a bit. But this is interesting, and I'll get to why in a little second here. But yeah, basically some just filthy slamcore from Germany. They started in 2006. Now, after their first EP, they ended up releasing their first album. This is Orgasmic Self-Mutilation, and this was pretty good. Not as good, in my opinion, as the EP, but after a few listens, it does definitely grow on you, and it is definitely one of the better releases out there in slamcore for sure. More leaning to like the slam side, of course. So that's the inside. Got this through CDN Records, so thanks CDN Records for that. Maybe also the EP release was through CDN Records too, so really appreciate that. I think this was one of the very first orders I ever got through CDN Records too. It was like the first or second order that I got this from them in, so really, really neat that I'm going over this again. All right, and the last thing that they've kind of came out with is the Sternness album from 2016. Now, this was a little bit of a left turn for them. It still had that kind of brutal death metal slamcore feel, but then it kind of just got like really dark, really creepy, slightly atmospheric and moody. Almost the like, I don't know, like the depressive suicidal version of slamcore or brutal death metal in this. This is definitely not something you put on to be happy and energetic and upbeat. This is punishing and brutal and dark and creepy at times, and not what you'd expect really from Begging for Incest. It was a quite left turn, and I enjoyed it, but I was also kind of taken aback a bit by what I heard from the new album. And then going back to what I was saying before, I think they released the Awaiting the Fist reissue with that artwork and color scheme because of this, right? So, because this came out, this EP release came out about a year after this, and it looked like they're kind of going for that darker kind of monochrome color scheme. So maybe that's why the new EP release looks like that instead of more colorful art. But yeah, definitely give this a listen to, especially if you kind of stopped listening to Begging for Incest, either after the first EP or after the first album. It's going to be different, but it's really, really good. Highly recommend it. Now, before I finish talking about Begging for Incest, there's also something else I want to get by them. I don't know if I mentioned, but they started in 2006, also from Germany. However, they also did a 4-way split with Extermination, Dismemberment, Goreputation, and Gutfed in 2012. I really, really want to get that EP. Really cool bands, really interesting stuff, cool artwork. And I don't think I ever actually found any physical releases by Goreputation. So hell yeah, definitely check out Goreputation 2 if you have the time. Everyone should know Gutfed and Extermination Dismemberment by now, bass drops and whatnot. But yeah, Goreputation is kind of not really talked about so much and definitely deserves the recognition and kind of shout out in the brutal death metal and slam scene and whatever. Anyway, going a little bit left turn again. This is the last release by Bleeded. They are a technical brutal death metal band from Japan. This was their 2014 EP, Musma Dorshim. Their full length was self-titled and back in 2012. I had a couple of tracks that were on this. More than likely one of the ones that, as you can see on the back, aren't in English. And then Musma Dorshim, I believe, was the first song on the self-titled album. Now, they started in 2009 and unfortunately ended, I think, a year or two just after this EP. But they were really, really crazy, really, really fast, like talented, brutal, heavy, quick, just little insane riffs. Like it sounded like solos on acid or on crack, and just probably some crazy, like finger tapping bass shit. It just. Yeah, as it says, Japanese technical brutality, and that's exactly what you get. Insane stuff. Go check them out. Bleeded, Bleedead. I'll potentially try to throw a link in the description box below. And the last thing in this video, before, actually it's not getting too long, I'm surprised, but this is Big N Bolt. Big N Bolt are also from Russia, Moscow, like their brothers in Abominable Trinity. Now these guys play mostly just brutal death metal with the odd slam here or there. Their first album had, I think, a little bit more slams than this, but anyways, this is Killstruments and Deathids from 2016. Now these guys started in 2007. They came out with Mechanical Race Creations in 2011. And then they took a break for a bit, obviously, for about 5 years, and then they finally came back and laid down this heavy-hitting thing. That kind of looks like the puzzle box from Hellraiser. Maybe that's what they intended, but yeah, pretty cool. And it is dark, it is heavy. I got this around the same time as I got the Sternness album by Begging for Incest, and they kind of have a sort of similar vibe to them. But this isn't quite as dark and like depressing sounding as Sternness album, but it's heavy, it's fast, it's crushing, it's very much so brutal death metal done right. That's amusing. It's like a stained glass window version of their logo. I really want to get their first album, Mechanical Race Creation, because that's what I first heard when I listened to Big N Bolt. But a lot of people, I think, skip over this band. So definitely check out Big N Bolt. Check out Mechanical Race Creation first, because that's kind of more of what I remember them being. This is good too, but it's not quite like Big N Bolt, the Big N Bolt that I remember, but also really good, also really talented. All right, that's it. Hopefully you enjoyed the first of many installations of this slam and brutal death metal collection series. I will be doing usually 5 albums, And if there's a band in there that has more than one album, I'll also include that. So it might be 5 bands and the albums that accompany it. I will try to not make it too many more than that. Like if it's a band that has like 10 albums or 5 albums, then I'm more than likely only going to do that band and like 2 others. But for this one, I was able to get through it fast enough, clearly. So we'll see. But most of the time, I'm only going to try to do 5 bands at a time, or maybe if it have more than one album, maybe 3 or 4 albums from that band, up to like maybe 8 or 9. Because like we had how many here? 10. So yeah, I think the max I'm going to be doing is 10 if it's a band that has more than one album. So there we go. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed. For glory, for the rebellion and the alliance, Slammerella out.